Hello and welcome to another episode of the Standard Grind. And today we got some crazy spoilers, so I kind of want to just jump right into them. Start off by pulling up the chat, make sure everybody can see. So we all know that we have Tarkir spoilers coming out. We got a new legendary dragon. So it's Beator, the Ancestor's Voice. It's 5 mana for a 3/5, flying and lifelink. Beginning of Aeron Step, put a number of woman counters up to one one up to one other target creature you control, equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn. Return up to one target card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. So in Abzan colors, it's a life gain commander that allows you to be a reanimator deck and life gain at the same time. This card seems insane. But that's not really what I want to talk about today. That's like a new card I just saw. What I would love to talk about today is the fact that we have Tarkir Dragonstorm, and this set looks amazing. We also have our Final Fantasy spoilers, and this set also looks pretty awesome. But we got some new spoilers today from the next set coming out, which is going to be the Spider-Man Universes Beyond Standard Legal set. And we got a Goblin. I'm going to start with Green Goblin because I'm a Goblins lover, and this Goblin is flying. So it's 4 mana, a black and a red and 2 colorless for a 3/3 flyer. Whenever you discard a non-land card, put a 1/1 counter on target goblin you control. Whenever you discard a land card, create a tapped treasure token. So this card seems actually insane. Not like I'm thinking about in Commander, right? You play it as your legend, and you have like a billion different ways to build around it. And if you focus your deck on, having a lot of free discard outlets, a lot of discard synergies, you're gonna have some crazy stuff really fast. Being able to just like make one of your goblins really big. It doesn't say another, so it can target itself. So you can just go have a free discard outlet, play this on turn 4, discard a card, put a woman counter on it. It becomes a 4/4 for 4 with flying. And then if you have like a marauding Mako style deck where you're just like discarding and drawing, cycling cards over and over again, I could see this being like a 4 mana 6/6, a 4 mana 7/7, depending. And then whenever you discard a land, you ramp. So in EDH, especially, being able to like have Rakdos ramp in the command zone, you can turn to this if you have a Soul Ring. Like that's not even fast mana. You just need a Soul Ring, and you can turn to your legend. So Green Goblin, I'm super excited about that card. But I kind of like we'll talk about the other spoilers from Spider-Man, but I kind of want to just like make this point real quick. So, I wake up every day and I look I wake up every day and I ask myself. Anyways, I wake up and I look at the spoilers, right? And I'm trying like my best to think about like, okay, so the set is going to be like this, and there's going to be themes, and you're trying to connect these dots, right? It's really hard when Wizards keeps trying to distract you with other cards. Right? Excuse me. I'm trying to like fall in love with the Skirmish Rhino. But how can I fall in love with Skirmish Rhino when I know in Standard the same format, we're gonna have a giant cactus that can hit for 10,000, right? And then we also have like Spider-Man coming, so it's like the natural deck building, the natural assessing the cards and slotting them into decks and trying to take our time and figure out, how are we going to play Spider-Man? How are we going to are we going to try to break Mox Jasper, right? Are we going to try to break from Scale Scion? Are there enough cast 2 cantrips and then cast to people talk about Storm Scale Scion in Modern? The Warrens, you don't lose to Pyroclasm. It's like slightly better body. It's like much better body, slightly more expensive. Instead of 4, it's 6. But if you're storming off, right, if you're gonna make 10 4/4 flyers, it's much better than like 21 goblins that all do Pyroclasm. So there's like pros and cons, but this natural like deck building, this natural like, oh my god, let's immerse ourselves in this upcoming set to try to figure out like how we're gonna break these cards, how are we gonna inherit what we have in this set into already existing decks, right? That thought process is cut short every time we get a spoiler, right? I think we technically had the Final Fantasy spoilers out before we had the Tarkir Dragonstorm set. So people are like already trying to talk about like Emmet Selch and how they're going to break that in Legacy and Modern. People already talking about Cecil. People already talking about these cards that aren't going to come out after Dragonstorm Tarkir. And so people are really not even doing the standard deck building that would be natural if we had a much more paced set release. So basically, the point I'm trying to make is, you know, when a set comes out, it used to be that we would deck build and we try to like figure out how do the cards slot into existing decks? Do they create their own decks? How do they improve the standard metagame? How do they improve the standard format? And now with the constant spoilers, we have 3 sets of spoilers out. We have Tarkir, Final Fantasy, and Spider-Man. And so people are really deck builders are going to be really pulled in a lot of different directions, and it's going to be hard for us to figure out, okay, what's the best way to play Mox Jasper, right? If you have like the whole community and no other spoilers, if you have the whole community looking at Mox Jasper for a certain amount of time, it's going to be broken. People are going to figure out how to make it something that has that for standard at least is way too powerful. The issue being, people are already looking at the Final Fantasy spoilers, and they're using that same brain power they could be using on Mox Jasper for Jumbo Cactar, right? So like, and it's not those specific cards. Those are examples of how like when these sets come out so close to each other, we're actually making it harder for ourselves to deck build in creative ways. We're making it more difficult for the community to do the natural thing of like filtering and like playing cards with each other and seeing how like interactions and synergies work, right? We have less time to do that because we're already thinking about 2 sets down the road, right? Like some people are already going to like for me, right? I was already talking about Green Goblin. That's like 3 sets in the future. So that's all. That's I'm gonna end the point there, and we're gonna play some standard. But I think that the Spider-Man cards are really cool. I think that the Final Fantasy cards are really cool, and I think the Tarkir Dragonstorm cards are really cool. I just wish they were a little bit more spaced out. And I think it's kind of crazy to think about the fact that we have 3 standard legal sets spoilers at the same exact time. But I'm just a goblin, and that's just me. That's just me rambling. So let's jump into. Oh yeah, and then another. While we play the game, I can kind of talk about this. There was a big discussion in the comments section of one of my shorts about the price of Final Fantasy boxes, and I think that it's not necessarily, something that Wizards like from a corporate perspective can control. I'm sure. Like they, at the end of the day, the conglomerate of Wizards owned by Hasbro makes the decisions on the prices of the boxes. However, it's really hard for them, right, to make a new product, make a special kind of product where they probably have to pay a premium to somebody else. So like they're like, oh, it's going to be more expensive, and that's kind of just fine. Jumping in with Gruul, and I think that the reason I think we need to talk about it though, and like the reason it's frustrating to see the base set box go to $200 is, for the casual players, for the players who have like just gotten in the game and their mom knows that they love Final Fantasy and their mom wants to go buy them a box, but they're going to go to the store and they're going to see maybe $200 MSRP, or online it's going to be even worse, and they're just going to choose not to, and they're going to go play a different game that's cheaper because Wizards decided to increase the price of the cards. And yes, it's inflation. Yes, there's a lot of factors that are mitigating all of this. But I think that at the end of the day, Wizards bears the responsibility of like keeping it affordable enough because, and the natural argument against this is buy singles. The issue being when you go to a card store, right, and you go to buy your singles, those singles have a price that's dependent on how many boxes of that set have been cracked. A great example is General Kriat is an uncommon from Jumpstart, and it's almost $9 because it's a great commander, but nobody can find nobody cracked Jumpstart. So, or Jumpstart Foundations. And so, depending on how people play cards, right? Depending on how many people want the card, if there's one really good card, let's say Jumbo Cactus is like the bee's knees, nothing else even comes close to it in standard. Let's say that, right? If Jumbo Cactar is like the thing in standard, and nobody wants to buy the boxes because everybody's telling themselves we're just going to buy sealed, then it's really not going to work well, because everybody's going to go or everybody's going to buy singles, sorry. Because everybody's going to go not open boxes, wait. You're only going to have the scalpers holding the boxes. The people who do end up trying to buy boxes are going to buy them for the ridiculous premiums that we saw. And then because nobody wanted to like make this an issue and say, hey, the box price actually does matter because it's reflective on the market value of the singles. Then when Jumbo Cactar is like $70, because it's like the card out of that deck, I think then people are gonna be talking about things. But that's me just rambling.